Thanks for the time. Want to get right to it with your quarterback room, starting with Sean Clifford and then working to Will Levis. Could you tell us what you've seen out of that group and where you think the most significant strides can be made the rest of the season?
Yeah, I mean, what I've seen is pretty typical of the whole team, and it's a tribute to the culture that we have here. Is guys continuing to work hard, guys doing everything they can to continue to get better each week, and that's really what all I can ask out of these guys is we continue to grind and get better, and improve each week. Again, I'd like to see us do a better job of taking care of the ball. I think that's number one. I think that's always the first thing that you got to do in building an offense.
Let's go to Mark Brennan, Lions 247.
Kirk, along those lines, you're third in the Big Ten in yards per game and ninth in scoring. Is it about the turnovers primarily, or are there other things that are kind of contributing to the inability to score maybe as much as I think you would like?
I think anytime you have a situation, there's usually more than one thing, leading to that problem, that issue, with it. But the turnovers have definitely hurt us. Costly mistake here and there has hurt us in that area. We haven't been as good in the low red at that you'd like to be as far as being able to punch it in. Whether it's running or passing. So there's a number of reasons that have put us where we're at from a point standpoint. We just got to continue to work and the guys continue to get better and continue to look at, as coaches, as what our guys do best, and put them in that situation.
Corey Geiger, Nittany Sports Now.
Hey, good morning, Kirk. I don't mean to make light of this, but I'm maybe only slightly exaggerating when I say fans probably want to throw something at their TV when they see you call a lot of fades when you're in the red zone. Why do you like to call the fade? And can you speak just from a technical standpoint why a lot of offensive coordinators will go to a fade pass?
Well, I think, one of the reasons why I've been calling the fades down there is something that we did well in training camp and have done a really good job with in practice. We haven't been able to execute it as well as we'd like in the games. From that standpoint, it's been against man coverage. I think coordinators like it because it's usually pretty safe too. A safe call where your guy can make the play or nobody makes the play. But again, it's something that I'm continually evaluating as I look at our players and what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are, and we just haven't done a great job of being able to convert them in the games for a number of different reasons. It's not just one thing with it. So we've got to continue to diversify down there and, put our guys in better positions to make plays.
Go to Rich Scarcella with the Reading Eagle.
Hi, Kirk. How close or how far is the offense from looking how you want it to look or where you want it to be?
It's a good question. Again, I think that the key thing is right now we're getting better each week. I see it in practice, but that doesn't always mean that I know this, that like you got to do it in practice first, or there's no chance of it happening in the games. Okay, very little chance of it happening in the games. If it happens in the games, at that point, it's just luck. But sometimes there's a little bit of a lapse there before you can take the practice field to the game field, with it. I think the first thing we got to do, which we did last week, was we need to take care of the ball, which we were able to do that last week. We need to build on that. I felt like last week that our details were better. We didn't give away free plays against ourselves. So we got to continue to build on that, again this week with it. So I mean, it's definitely still a work in progress. The offense, it's not where I want it to be. The results have not been what I want them to be yet. Um, but we're doing everything we can within our control to continue to get better. And that's what I love about this group, love about this culture is, how hard these guys have come out every day to work, the energy that they brought to the practice field. And we'll get there. When? We'll see. Hopefully we're going to continue. The expectation is that we continue to build on what we did last week.
Go to Audrey Snyder with The Athletic.
Kirk, I wanted to go back to Sean Clifford and his play this year. When you look at Sean and some of the issues that he's had, how much of it do you think is him trying to do too much versus is it an issue with trying to get up to speed with this offense? How do you kind of evaluate him so far?
Again, it's there's probably multiple things that are affecting him. I think one is definitely trying to be too perfect. With things. I think that's probably the biggest issue. I thought last week he really didn't try to be perfect. He trusted what he saw. There's probably contributes to it too. Is he's learning a new offense, a new way to think about things. That's part of it. It's not effort. I can tell you that it's not work ethic. With him, we just got him to get him to be a little bit more comfortable and, trust what he sees out there and, know when not to force the ball in there. And again, I thought he did a great job last week with his decision making and trusting what he saw. And, when the play wasn't there, threw the ball away and moved on. I love the kid. I love the way he works and his potential that he has at the position. It's my job to get him to play better, and he has.
Tobias Wilborn, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette.
Hey, Kirk, thanks for the time as always, sir.
You got it.
All right, then from there, man, how much does it mean when you have freshmen starting at running back, at tight end, at wide receiver, first time in school history? What does that mean for the program now, but also going forward?
Well, I think one, it's exciting going forward, and I think overall with the offense, again, listen, I'm not happy with the results, okay, believe me, but I also know it's a process. Building an offense, and I feel really good about the future. The guys that we've got, they're improving at a rapid pace. Maybe not as fast as we all want it, but I think moving forward, we've got a lot of potential and a lot of guys that have ability that we can continue. We have to continue to develop and do a great job as coaches in developing these young players. Do I wish Pat was out there? Sure, but it's part of the culture here is next man up, and I thought that Theo Johnson did an outstanding job last week in his real first extended playing time where we were asking him to play a major role in the game. I'm really excited about the young wideouts. Parker had a really nice game last week, and Keandre's. I think as soon as he gets his opportunity, he's going to show you that he's ready to play, and that he has a lot of ability in him too. The young running backs, obviously, Kevon. Jaywan's doing a great job with those guys, and he stepped forward for us. But Keziah shows a lot of potential and ability too, and looking forward to watching him, break out at some point.
Greg Pickle, Penn Live.
Coach, when you talk about the issues in the red zone, especially the lower part of the red zone, what are those specifically, and how do you go about fixing them over the next few weeks?
Well, I think as coaches, you just got to look at your players' strengths, and what the defense, how the defense you're expecting the defense to play you down there, and do a better job of trying to play to your strengths down there. The field shrunk. down there. You don't have as much space to work with anymore. The defense has less area to defend, so it's always tight down there, and it's always going to be contested down there in the low red. But we just got to continue to do a better job of looking at what our players do best and try to exploit that, accentuate our players' strengths, and limit their weaknesses.
Joe Giuliano, Philadelphia Inquirer.
Good morning, Kirk. There's a saying in football that if one guy doesn't do his job on a particular play, it's not going to work, even if the other 10 guys do. Why did it take so long for this team offensively to get on the same page? Was it the fractured training camp? What were the reasons for that?
I think, again, there's a lot of things that are contributing to that, that have contributed to that. The bottom line is this, did the no spring ball help us? Probably not. Did the fact that, the way the training camp was, but that is what it is. And I try to focus, Joe, on, rather than waste time thinking about that stuff, why we're at where we're at right now, is just focus on what we can control, which is getting better every day, continuing to develop our players. And that's where our focus is right now. After the season, I'm sure I'll look back at all the different reasons for why the results were the results. But right now, I'm really focused on what we can do moving forward to get better every day.
Mike Foreman, Fight on State, statecollege.com.
I appreciate the new job. Thanks, Greg. I'd like a raise. Hey, Kirk, 2 questions. How much of the offense these days is yours, and how much that was here? And then when you walked in the door, were there any basic offensive tenets that came from James that were intractable?
I'd have to sit down and really look at it and evaluate that question. How much is what or who or where. Ultimately, I'm the offensive coordinator, so I own it all. So I don't really think about it like that right now. We're doing what we think gives us the best chance to win the game on Saturday, period. And you owe that to the players, to the program, and to the fan base, and that's ultimately what we're trying to do. So, I don't really have a real answer for you on that. Other than what I just said, we're doing what we think is, that everyone thinks gives us the best chance to win the game on Saturday, and what fits our players' strengths.
Mike Gross, Lancaster Newspapers.
Hi, Kirk. Thanks for doing this today. When you got to see the team play in actual games on tape, and was there any specific thing that you saw and said, "Boy, I think we would have been better if I could have installed that in a normal way, or I could have drilled that or taught it or coached it in a more normal way, given the realities of this season"?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think that's very fair. I think that's the reality of it. That we all would have been better off had we had a more normal year, and we'd be in a better place right now. But again, I'm not, Mike. Honestly, I'm not focused on that right now, and that's, to me, that's just a waste of energy right now. Is because it wasn't a normal year. It is what it is, right? And our focus is totally on going 1-0 against Rutgers this week, and how we're going to do that is by getting better every day in practice, and then being able to apply that to the game. But it just wasn't a normal year. It is what it is, and so there's truth to what you're saying. I totally agree.
Donnie Collins, Scranton Times Tribune.
Hi, Kirk. Thanks so much. Are you happy with the progression, the development of the offensive line this year?
Yeah, I'm just looking at them in just like every position, and looking for progress each week, within the guys and what their energy's like at practice and how are they preparing and coming along. So, yeah, I mean, I think they're, would we like the results to be better? Absolutely. Okay, absolutely. Don't mistake what I'm saying for that. But at the same time, I think that Coach Trout's getting them better. I think it would, just like all of us, to have a normal year and been able to meet with the guys in person, certainly would have helped everybody's development across every single position, with the whole team.
Tyler Donahue, Lions 247.
Kirk, one of the mysteries for you was the lack of game film and on Will Levis going into this season. You mentioned that earlier this offseason. When you made the decision to place him as your starter against Iowa, what led up to that decision, and then to pull him out in the third quarter and go back to Sean as the starting quarterback a week later? Why was that in turn the ensuing decision? What do you think about Will Levis overall through these games? And if you could just kind of talk us through those change of events at the starting spot.
Yeah, I think as far as the change in that, I should leave that question to Coach Franklin. And that was a discussion that, that he and I had, when we went to Will, and then a discussion that we had during the game when we went back to Sean. I'm not trying to duck the question, but I think there should be one voice, and, the head coach should be the guy to answer that question. But we did have a discussion about it. As far as Will's progression goes, I think Will has a lot of potential and a lot of talent. And I thought he did some good things in the Nebraska game when he came in the second half. And I thought he did some good things in the Iowa game. I thought, some of the things that occurred there that weren't so good was a great learning opportunity for him. And I don't think he'll make that mistake again, and he'll be able to learn from it and move forward, which he has done a great job of moving forward in practice and continuing to get better. And so I'm excited about his future.
Let's go to time for a few more questions. Nate Bauer, Blue White Illustrated.
Hey, Kirk. What is the learning curve to establishing chemistry on an offensive staff that has so many new pieces? Are there hurdles to that, and where do you feel like you guys are in that process?
Well, I think that we've done a really good job of getting to know each other. But would it have been easier had we been, in the office together and gone through spring ball and a normal training camp? Absolutely. But that wasn't the case, with it. I think anytime you get together your first year, you're still learning each other a little bit. And there's obviously some growing pains with it, but we got a great group of guys that are super, super coaches. And, I think we've meshed really well together, and, we're going to continue to get better, just like the players.
Mark Brennan, Fight On State.
Kirk, how have Sean and Will handled the last few weeks? Not necessarily from a playing perspective, but, being team leaders. That obviously has not been an easy situation for either guy. How have they kind of come through that?
Yeah, I tell you, Mark, I'm really, really impressed with both of the young men and how they both handled the situations. Sean, when we told him we were going to go with Will, the way he handled that from a personal standpoint and from a team perspective standpoint. And then Will, the same thing. It's not easy to handle that situation, especially at this young of an age for these guys. But again, I think it's a tribute to the culture that Coach has built here over his time here within the program and team first. And, Sean was super, super supportive of Will leading up to the Iowa game. And Will's been super supportive of Sean up to that point and since. They compete with each other, not against each other. and do a great job of helping each other out and talking to each other, sharing thoughts and ideas of how they see a particular play.
We have time for one more question. Neil Riddell, Altoona Mirror.
Hey, thanks, Greg. Thanks, Kirk. Kirk, I'm just wondering, offensive coordinators can be lightning rods for criticism when things don't go well. You made a change to come to Penn State. What have you seen and learned about Penn State from a passion of the fan base and whatnot? How have you handled that? And have you noticed a difference from other stops in terms of that?
Honestly, I really mean this. I understand what comes with the position. We're going to be judged on those results each Saturday. I get that. I've been in the business a long time. I don't listen to the outside when it's going really good, and I don't listen to one of the things I've learned throughout my time in this profession is that I don't listen to the noise when it's going bad or when it's going good. Either way, this job's hard enough as it is, and you need to focus all your energy on doing your job to the best of your capabilities. So I don't worry about it. I've been at places before where the ride to the outhouse, from the outhouse to the penthouse, is very short in this profession, and vice versa. So I've been in both places. Spent maybe a little bit more time in the penthouse than the outhouse, thank goodness, or I wouldn't be here. But very confident in my ability to build a successful top flight offense. Been able to do it at a number of places, and I certainly have the resources to be able to do that here, and I'm very excited about it. So, I don't worry about that stuff. I love the passion and how much the alumni and the fans care about this program. That's one of the reasons why I'm here. I love that, and I love the program too, and very passionate about it. So I wouldn't expect them to feel any other way, to be honest with you. But I'm very confident in Coach Franklin's ability to lead this program. It's another reason why I came here. Very successful guy. He's got a very successful formula to give yourselves the best chance to win on Saturdays, which is what everybody ultimately wants within the program. So I'm just confident in the ability to do that. We have all the resources here. And again, I'll say this one more time, am I happy with the results? Absolutely not. Okay. But I do trust the process, and I've been in a lot worse situations than this from a standpoint of a productivity standpoint. And we've always managed to come out the other side and be really,